Hello, testing. We
We're
live?
live. It's live. Let's rock.
Okay, we're live, pal. Ladies and gentlemen, what's good, y'all? Sorry for the slight delay and the fact that we are one member short, but still, though, this is Dutch Meister J. Christian Gary. Over to my immediate right, I guess, is Jay Wolf, who's all the way out in Southern California, and this is yet another Focus Fights Audio Presents review in this case. Review. But still though, point of the matter is we're here to talk about the RIZIN 46 event. And even though I had some troubles trying to watch the event as it was, I mean, Jay Wolf, I gotta say, from your perspective, what did you think of the 10 fight structure that the event had this past weekend? I mean, this past Monday, now that we're doing this about 72 hours later.
Yeah, well, Jay Chris, you weren't the only one that had problems watching. That was one of the main things is that the stream was just it was terrible, unfortunately, and it really marred a fantastic show. You know me, I would like more fights, like I would like 15 fights minimum on each card, but so I didn't really like the only 10 fights, but for it being on a Sunday to Monday night, Monday morning, it was it was fine for the 10 fights because it ended. To be honest, it felt like I was watching on the East Coast because it started at midnight here, so it went all the way from midnight till about 5 to 6 in the morning. So that's normally what the East Coasters have to deal with when they watch a normal card. So it's man, it was brutal. But the main takeaway, besides the fights were awesome, the fights were all awesome. I mean, just and sensational main event. Chihiro Suzuki gets to finish. The Tiga finishes Kanehara, tough vet, and then they immediately afterwards, Sakaki Barasan, the CEO of the Epic Rising, sets up the super fight with Patricio pound for pound Pitbull and Bellator, and then afterwards. Wait, was Drew saying that the archive was out of sync too? Yeah, he says even the archive was out of sync. Yeah, that really marred the great show that it was because I'll give you the example of what was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, Jay Krish and Drew and everybody else listening in the chat. For the main event, right? When Chihiro first they mess up Chihiro's walkout. Like it starts cutting in and out and being choppy and stuff during Chihiro's walkout. Completely missed Lenny Hart announcing his name, screwed up his intro song, all that. And then but get this. In the middle during the main event, it didn't just cut in and out and be choppy. It literally dropped right during the finishing sequence. If you remember Chihiro's finishing sequence when he almost lands a massive knee, that is when it cut out for on RIZIN.TV, and not just for me either. I saw the GOAT on Twitter, Kaposa, Grabaka Hitman, he tweeted right when it happened for about the RIZIN stream dropping right there. So I know it wasn't just my stream that happened. So that to me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I cannot believe that it dropped during the main event finishing sequence. And by the time that we refreshed it, the finish was already done. And Chihiro was already had his hands raised as defending his belt. So that was, to me, I was so upset. And that really ruined a great event for me. And I will never get the RIZIN.TV stream again until I hear from you guys that it's all these issues have been fixed. From now on, I'm getting the RIZIN Live stream, and I don't care if it's $10 more. I don't care. I would rather have a mint, just a perfect stream for the whole show. Not have to worry about choppiness. Not have to worry about it dropping during the main event finishing sequence, and it just. I'm done with it, Jay Krish and everybody. I'm done with it. I am only getting the RIZIN live stream from now on, and I'll just the only thing that was a problem with the RIZIN live stream is the Japanese commentary. They talk over Lenny Hart, which I can't stand. And that's one of the good things about the RIZIN live English stream is that they know to shut up during Lenny Legend's intros and the walkouts. And But that's the only thing. Everything else of the RIZIN live stream is perfect. It's a mint stream. It never buffers, never drops, nothing. You can stream it on the TV. It's fantastic. So that's the way I'm gonna go from now on. I'm gonna get the RIZIN.live stream from now on, it's RIZIN dash live. That's right. And I'm getting that one from now on. I don't care if it's $10 more, but it just like I said, that was for other. RIZIN 46 was fantastic from the starting fight to the last fight, loaded with finishes, loaded with superior rule set action. Although we did not get a superior rule set finish, and of course, what I'm talking about by superior rule set is soccer pride rules, soccer kicks, stomps, grounded knees, grounded up kicks, 12 and the special 12-6 elbows that the Epic RIZIN superior rule set it allows that the pride rule set did not allow. So that's what we're talking about when we say superior rule set. And there wasn't a finish of the superior rule set, but there was a lot of action of the superior rule set. I mean, for the whole night. So it was really a fun event, but it just, like I said, I've had it, Jay Krish, with the stream quality issues. I mean, this is why they took last event off, RIZIN Landmark 9. Remember, that was not live on RIZIN.tv because they were supposedly fixing all these issues. And we ordered that one through RIZIN Live, and it was fine. Right. And then they were supposed to have all that fixed and the audio was still off, like Drew was saying in the chat. But the big thing for me is the stream was choppy and it dropped. Okay. And dropping during the main event was just that's it. I can't deal with it no more. So, I mean, but you know what? The one good thing is that the video quality, it wasn't HD this time. Instead of, remember last time it was like fluctuating between like 720 and 1080p, and that was kind of why it was a little bit slower on the RIZIN live stream. I mean, excuse me, on the RIZIN.tv stream when it first debuted for RIZIN Landmark 8. And that's one of the things that but I just can't believe they didn't fix the audio and really the choppiness of the stream, the dropping. I just can't handle it, Jay Krish. I'm going to RIZIN Live from now on. I don't care if it's $10 more, but it was a sensational event otherwise. Loaded with finishes, loaded with superior rule set action, just didn't have a superior rule set finish, and the bare knuckle fight. How awesome was the bare knuckle fight? That was one of the highlights of the night, right? I mean, dude, the collaboration with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, man, I can't wait to see that continue and see if they send any more fighters over. I mean, dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. And we got also on this recap show, we'll talk about all the announcements that has been happening. They announced for RIZIN 47 a bunch more fights, international fighters, and Sukaki Barasan's talking about collaborating with KSW for one of the fights, right? I mean, man, so it's going to be a great show.
Well, on the contrary, Jay Wolf, and yeah, I got master control, so I can at least get a word in edgewise. But still, though, when it comes down to this show, I can't really say much about it because I was knocked the fuck out when the damn thing started. Well, not when the damn thing started. It was more so after the first 3 fights, so to speak, because of those streaming issues. And as we see right down here, hopefully they'll get fighters who can actually have a win in BKFC. That's from Andrew Benjamin, our homeboy at the We Are RIZIN podcast, which non-RIZIN talk. I'm envious that you got to go to AEW Dynamite last night, man. That's the experience that you had, even in Winnipeg. But still, though, when it comes down to the RIZIN experience of RIZIN 46, I mean, let's just face it. Even though it was a holiday in Japan, and yeah, we understand the holidays in Japan are pretty different than the holidays here, but the fact that it was really, I wouldn't say an underwhelming card. It was the fact that it was shown on a weekday morning here in the States, to where most of us have to get up and either go run errands or go do work or what have you. Not that many people over here, not that many overseas geeks were going to stay up and watch the show. It's just the fact that a lot of people would have wanted to see this RIZIN show. It's just that it was shown on a Monday. And in some cases, yeah, the stream, especially during the main event, should have never cut out. They should have never had those issues. But my concern was, again, commentary was all out of whack, especially considering the fact that, and I mean no disrespect to either Damian Beatdown Brown or Elliot the Spider Compton, but some people basically ride on the English commentary, and I am basically looking at a tweet from Izzy Doa, our compatriot over at Combat Sports Today. Y'all should check out at CS Today News for all your information. But even he said that RIZIN's English language commentary isn't great, man. They keep talking over each other and the sound is delayed. I mean, maybe I mean, I can't really blame the fact that it's because they're Australian or the fact that they're basic. One of them hasn't fought in a long while, that being Damian Brown. But do you think that the commentary probably might have been better if they would have got something else?
Well, no, all they need to do was have him there in person because it was just the audio issue with Elliot Compton's mic. It was like it was too close to his mouth or something because it was just the audio was just it was off and just man.
Like,
But you know what? Shout out to Combat Sports Today and Izzy Doa. That was who the guest was for the sensational preview show that we did. All of our almost all of our preview and predictions and stuff came true or came to fruition. And just a really shout out to that whole crew, the Combat Sports Today crew and Izzy Doa. Can't wait to have them back on the show. That was one of the most fun shows we've done to date. And just, man, I can't wait to see them back. And it's great to see, I consider them one of the mainstream medias because they get a lot of likes and stuff on Twitter. So at least it's great to see them actually cover the Epic Rise and give coverage to the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation, right? So just want to make sure to give them a shout out. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, the commentary, English commentary, it was definitely off, out of sync, and Compton's mic volume was way too loud, and it forced us to turn the volume down because otherwise it'd blow out our speakers whenever something awesome happened.
yeah, but Jay, did it sound like he was trying to swallow the microphone or something?
No, it sounded like it was like too close to his mouth,
Yes.
right? And it was causing like interference or something. Like it was just.
Jay,
I mean, it's
probably sounded like he was about to swallow that microphone whole. And Andrew basically brings up a good point. They are both good, Compton and Damian Brown, or to that extent, Compton and Joe Ferraro. No, wait, actually, Damian Brown and Joe Ferraro, who probably was asleep at this time, didn't want to do a Monday morning fight card. But I mean, yeah, living in Toronto will do. Living anywhere in the four major time zones of North America, Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific, will do that to you. Let's be real. But
yeah, but y'all should have just taken the day off of work like I did. I put in months, not a month, at least a month in advance, because I as soon as they switched the date to it to be on the 29th, I put in for the day off. So it was like a 3-day weekend for me. So that's, and we were telling everybody that in the preview show. So that's, I mean, and when it's during the week, that's what you got to do. You got to take the next day off of work. Otherwise, it's impossible to watch live.
yeah, but still, though, when it comes down to, I mean, I can totally understand that, especially considering that it is really a dick trying to get the replays for the fight card. But still, though, going back to the commentary, yes, it's time to get rid of that remote BS. No more having them in two different places at once, trying to commentate a fight card thousands of miles away. Have them in the arena, set up with their own booth, watching the action unfold for the world to see and hear. Because
yeah, and like Drew was saying on the commentary, I mean on the Twitter, not the Twitter chat, but the comments right here, he was saying at least get them in the same room. They're both Australian, right? Yep. They're both Australian. Why can't they be in the same room doing the commentary, right? If they're going to do it on Zoom, that would prevent them from talking over each other, like Izzy Doa was saying. So and they could probably get the mic volume synced up. So that if they're not going to have ringside commentary, at least get them in the same room, especially when they're in the same country, right? So I totally agreed with Drew on that one.
Yeah, but still though, going back down to the fights,
Yes, let's get into these fights because they were awesome, right? It was everything was a great card.
Run them down, Jay. First of all, before we get a little too carried away, we're gonna go
Okay,
ahead.
sure, go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and run down the fights as they are listed, not only on the fight card itself, but on Tapology. As I'm going to go ahead and read the results out. First of all, Ryo Takagi not in the prelim portion of the program, which of course that's where the main card started at 3 a.m. Eastern, midnight Pacific for most viewers in North America. The two prelim fights of what many will say because they were streamed on YouTube. Ryo Takagi knocked out Taisei Nishitani, 4 minutes, 4 seconds, round one. Ilkom Nazima knocked out Sora Yamamoto with a vicious ground and pound. 3 minutes, 39 seconds of round number two. In the bare knuckle fight to kick off the pay portion of the pay per view, so to speak. Because you had the per view part with the two prelim fights, and then you had the pay fight. Well, then you had the rest of the card be pay fight, so to speak. Tatsuki Shinotsuka, the rude boy, the problem boy, made his bare knuckle instincts intact as the kickboxer turned bare knuckle boxer, knocked out Justin Martinez, the U.S. Army veteran from Wichita, Kansas, USA, in 1 minute and 33 seconds with a straight right hand. The referee for that fight card, I think, was Brian Miner. Was it not? Or holy
Yeah,
shit!
yeah, yeah. They had flown in a BKFC official, and he had given him a. If you saw the Epic Rising official Japanese Twitter had posted a tweet of him giving the rules and giving a rundown of the BKFC rules and regulations before the fight. So that was definitely him in the ring. You're right.
Of course, of course. The rest of the card was straight up MMA. Viktor Kolesnik defeated Yoshiki Nakahara via unanimous decision after 3 agonizing rounds of action. Speaking of agonizing, that's what the Japanese fans thought that Noah, Black Panther Noah, was when he defeated Saku Inoue via unanimous decision. But no
Yeah, they
disrespect.
actually booed him. Can you believe that? The
Yeah,
Japanese crowd actually was booing during that fight. You know it's bad when the Japanese crowd is booing. They never do that. So that was something to see.
of
And
course. But we'll talk about that match as we progress
yeah,
onward. In the Japan versus Korea series, Japan took 2 fights to 1. Those 2 fights being Kazuma Kuromoto defeating Ji Yon Yang via split decision, and Makoto Shinryu Takahashi, the recent RIZIN flyweight title challenger, submitting RIZIN debutee Jung Hyung Lee, of which that's the whole reason why Focus Fights didn't put over a fighter debut thread, because one fight making a debut does not make a thread. But still, going back on the result, Makoto Shinryu Takahashi submitted Jung Kyung Lee via arm triangle choke, 4 minutes 30 seconds of round one. The lone blemish of the Japan South Korea series was Shocho Lee knocking out Taichi Nakajima in
yeah,
his.
Socho Kim.
Oh yeah, Sol Shul Kim. My apologies. The former Road FC bantamweight champion knocking out Taichi Nakajima 6 seconds into round number two. In the co-main event, Shinobu Ota was doing a whole lot of this peekaboo shit. I don't know if you've seen it in the little preview they had the fight. He was doing all this peekaboo and stuff, but many people didn't know that he was an Achilles stumping fool. And he was basically stumping Juntaro Ushiku out without actually knocking him out, dominating him in 3 rounds. And it all led to the main event, which we will talk about first, because what good is a show without talking about the main event first, you know? Chihiro Suzuki defends the RIZIN featherweight title for the first time, knocking out the 42-year-old MMA veteran Masanori Kanehara. 4 minutes, 20 seconds, round one. He smoked him like a Philly blunt.
He sure did. That was awesome.
But yeah, going back to this fight card, I know there were issues in seeing the end of this fight. I mean, like, what would be the whole point of even showing the fight? You know, not in its entirety. I mean, I can't boggle the mind about that. Like, seriously, if you know the fight was going to last 4 minutes and 20 seconds, why have everything glitch it out? You know, I mean, no
Yeah,
sense.
it was unacceptable, Jay Krish. That's why I devoted my entire intro to that. It was really it was the final straw for me. I was so upset. I mean, it was building through the whole event, right? That the stream was glitching and buffering and all that for the most of the event. But then for the main event, the one that we had all shown up for, when we had stayed up all night to watch the main event, like I said, when it was glitching and just for Chihiro's walkout song, messing up Chihiro's walkout song, that I was really pissed at that. But then when it actually dropped during the finishing sequence and had us, and when we refreshed, the fight was over and we missed the finish. That's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. And I've had it. I'm going to RIZIN Live from now on. I don't care if it's $10 more. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. So until you guys tell me that the RIZIN.TV stream has been fixed of these issues, I'm going to RIZIN Live every single time from now on. These cards are getting too big. The June 9th card is massive. And we'll talk about that later after we go through these fights, right? Because they announced had a bunch of announcements, everything. Go ahead.
And we can go ahead and say it now. RIZIN is too big to fail, as the old saying goes, right?
Yeah, and these cards that are coming up are massive. And there's no way I'm going to risk watching on the RIZIN.TV stream with messed up audio, glitching, dropping, all these kind of issues. I mean, I'm going to RIZIN Live from now on. I don't care if it's $10 more. I don't care if it's Japanese commentary. I don't care anymore. I want the mint stream, and that's what I want. I just want no issues. I don't care if it's $10 more. I'm going to do it every time. RIZIN Live for me from now on until y'all tell me that RIZIN.TV is fixed. Because I mean, let's talk about this main event like you want to.
Really, to paraphrase what Andrew Benjamin is saying in the comments, and I'll go ahead and take a little spin on this. It's like the McDonald's ice cream machine; it'll never be fixed.
Well, let's hope it will eventually someday. I mean, they did take last event out. They did get the video quality fixed. Right, it was in complete HD for the whole time. This time, it wasn't like fluctuating between 720 and 1080, right? Like it was for the RIZIN Landmark 8 when they first launched the RIZIN.TV stream. So they are working on it. So I think it will be fixed eventually. But until y'all tell me that it is, I'm going to RIZIN Live. That's it.
Go ahead and at least talk about the fight while we still got a chance to.
Absolutely, yes, because this was the main event. It was absolutely sensational. Chihiro Suzuki. What? Go ahead. What were we gonna say?
Basically, what I was trying to ask is when it comes down to Chihiro Suzuki. I mean, a lot of people would say that the fight against Kanehara would be his hardest task to date. But when it comes down to the aftermath now, he beat Masanori Kanehara. You know, Juan Archuleta is going to want to face off against him if he defeats Kleber Koike Earps at this next card. And there's a whole host of contenders, not just from all over Japan, but probably all over the world that want to face off against him. You know, what the hell is next for Chihiro Suzuki? Not just mixed martial arts, but in kickboxing as well.
Yes, remember he's got a kickboxing or boxing bout or something scheduled against Takanori Gomi coming up here in June, right? And I think he's going to also defend his knockout kickboxing title as well. But the big thing after the fight was Sakaki Barasan, and I mean even before the fight, Mike Kogan of Bellator was saying that they want to continue collaborating with Epic RIZIN, and they definitely want to make the Patricio pound for pound Pitbull versus Chihiro rematch. And after the fight, Sakaki Barasan, the CEO of RIZIN, was talking about, yes, that is what we want next. We want Chihiro versus Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. We want the rematch. And he was talking like it's going to be in Bellator. not even to wait for New Year's Eve for it to be in Japan. So it'll be real interesting to see if that actually happens. And if that's what's going to happen, I think the prime candidate for that would be in the Bellator card that's scheduled for San Diego right here. And yes, I'm biased because I'd be going to that one 100% if they book that as the main event for that one. You best believe I'll be right there ringside or cage side for that one. But I mean, it was just, I mean, Jay Chris, what you were saying is true. This was one of Chihiro's toughest tests to date. Kanehara was a gritty veteran, and it was a real threat to Chihiro. But Chihiro, he showcased takedown defense. He showcased sensational striking as well, and was good enough to put Kanehara away in the first round with absolute sensational combo and ground and pound. And just, I mean, what an incredible defense for Chihiro, really cementing himself as not he's budded now. He was a budding star before, but I believe now that he is a full blown star, maybe a rising superstar for the Epic RIZIN in Japan, because he just, man, super impressive. I just love it. I love seeing all the tweets and stuff about him afterwards. Like I was saying, Combat Sports Today and Izzy Doe and all them, shout out to them. They were giving him props, tweeting about him. I mean, just, man, it was so great to see, Jay Chris. I absolutely loved it.
Not only the props were being given, over social media. I mean, you even had Lenny fucking Hart giving him a hug. I mean, Fights platform. When you have Lenny Legend giving you your props, you're doing something right.
Right, and like you were saying, all the fighters like Juan Archuleta and all of them were tweeting about how they want him to fight him next, and even Patricio Pound for Pound Pitbull before and after the fight was tweeting that he wants a piece of Chihiro next, right? So everybody wants to fight this kid because he's a star right now, dude. His run last year to achieve the championship was It was when he knocked out Patricio Pound for Pound Pitbull, that was upset of the year, knockout of the year candidate, and then he follows that up with another knockout of the year candidate over Kuramov to win the RIZIN title, and now he defends the RIZIN title against a tough, gritty veteran that was a real threat to him in sensational fashion with another finish, dude. This kid is Chihiro Suzuki is an amazing fighter. Like I said, he's a budded star, a bona fide star now, and he's a rising superstar. A rising superstar. And we'll see how this year plays out. It'll be real interesting to see if they're going to wait for New Year's Eve to do Chihiro versus Patricio in the Bellator cage in Japan. Let's see, maybe it's under, hopefully under the RIZIN rule set, Epic RIZIN Superior rule set. We'll see if they do it earlier, like at a Bellator San Diego. I mean, because that would make sense, right? Because you would think Don Davis, what, go ahead?
I'm going to tell you right now, if that fight happens in San Diego, they're not going to be doing it under the RIZIN. I mean, first of all, they're going to have them wear these robotic-ass uniforms that they're now being forced to wear. And yeah, I can say robotic-ass uniforms, and I can basically express my true feelings about the PFL because they basically banned me from their media sessions. So fuck them.
Well, if they do that, it shows that they're nervous or scared of Chihiro because he legit knocked out Patricio, and they know he could do it again. He knocked out Patricio Pound for Pound Pitbull fair and square, and they're worried he could do it again. And they want to take him out of his comfort zone in the Epic RIZIN ring under the superior rule set that would take strikes away from him that he could finish the fight.
Here's the thing, though. You didn't let me finish. When it comes down to the potential of that fight happening in San Diego as opposed to Saitama on New Year's Eve, I mean, if that fight were to happen in San Diego, we all know that it would be Chihiro Suzuki's first time fighting under unified rules, and that would throw his game completely off. And we all know that when it comes down to, RIZIN fighters, I mean, we don't know what Yusuke Yachi will do against Mansar Bonarwi on the upcoming Bellator show in Paris coming up. But still, though, when it comes down to RIZIN fighters under the Bellator format, it's really been hit or miss, and it's been mostly misses when it comes down to recent success. And I don't think if Chihiro fights under that particular format, he'll manage to do well. I mean, I just hope that when it comes down to that particular fight, that is something you put on the New Year's Eve portion of the no, the Bellator portion of the New Year's Eve card. Yeah, it's gonna be on HBO Max, but who gives a shit, right? We're basically going to be seeing Chihiro and Archuleta potentially at their best. And Andrew brings up a good point. While Pitbull versus Chihiro, Patricio Pitbull versus Chihiro shouldn't happen as quickly as you want, Jay. Juan Archuleta does not belong in the list of future challengers for that rising featherweight title. Come on, Andrew. Why is that?
Exactly. He's fighting basically his fight versus Kleber that Jay Chris is talking about, which is on June 9th at RIZIN 47. That's almost. I mean, it's not announced as a number one contender fight, but it could be up there, right? I mean, that's two top contenders, two former champions, and I mean, I know they're moving up a weight finally because they missed weight, but at bantamweight now they're moving up to featherweight, but still, that's two former bantamweight champions that are now fighting at featherweight. That could easily be billed as a number one contender fight. We'll just see what they want to do, but Drew, no, it's Patricio Pound Pitbull rematch is next. All signs point to that. All parties want that. Mike Hogan at Bellator wants it. Patricio Pound Pitbull wants it. Chihiro's talking. He's like, okay, no problem. Give me all the smoke. I'll take it. No problem. Sakaki Barasan, the CEO of RIZIN, obviously wants that from his comments, saying that that's that he was the one that he's the one that brought up that they're going to do it in Bellator sooner than New Year's Eve. So that's where I got that from. That's not me making that up. That's straight from the CEO of Epic RIZIN first. So wait, let's hear. Oh, you're talking about Juan Archuleta. Yeah. Well, look, he's not facing for the title next, Drew. He's facing Kleber Kaoki next, right? So, I mean, Koike, yeah, you're right. No, sorry, I messed up his name. But anyways, Drew, they both miss weight, so then they're both having to move up to featherweight now. So if you don't want it to be a number one contender fight, that's fine. But you can't deny that they were two top level fighters. And Juan Archuleta was top 3 ranked in Bellator still until they did away with the rankings. He was a top 3 in Bellator. So you can't say that they're not top fighters. But if you don't want him to be a number one contender fight, that's fine. Whatever. I mean, I'm just telling you, the Patricio pound for pound rematch, that's what's next on the table. And it just depends on when it's going to happen. If it's it's the right decision as well. That is a super fight. It has never been more. Just the time is perfect for it. It's perfect. Both Patricio is coming off a win, defending his featherweight title in Bellator, and now Chihiro is coming off a win, defending his featherweight title in the Epic RIZIN. The time is the stars have aligned. The time is right, and it is a super fight, right? A legitimate super fight rematch right now. I can't wait for that. Oh God, he said about Seguro. All right, put Seguro Knee in a number one contender fight. There, you happy? Make Seguro Knee versus the winner of Kleber and Archuleta for the number one contender. How about that, Drew? But Patricio Pound Pitbull is next. That's what all the signs point to. Sakaki Barasan's even saying it. I think, like Jay Krish is saying, I think it would be give an advantage to Patricio to do it in San Diego, and at least Chihiro has cage experience, right? He just doesn't have the unified rules experience. He has cage experience, so that's putting Patricio at an advantage, which is what Don Davis and the PFL want, because they're scared of. But we'll see. We'll see how it happens. We'll see how it plays out. Maybe Chihiro does this kickbox exhibition, whatever it is, with Gomi, and then defends his knockout title. And then goes, and maybe it happens on New Year's Eve, like hopefully it should. I mean, under superior rule set and RIZIN, everything. Because remember, Chihiro is the one that knocked out Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. It should be on Chihiro's terms, on Chihiro's home turf, that Patricio has to come and avenge that loss. It shouldn't be Chihiro flying, going to a different time zone, all that, and fighting under his unfamiliar rule set, all that. That should not be, because Chihiro is the A side in this fight. Okay. He's the one that knocked out Patricio pound for pound Pitbull.
Because I think I want to move on and talk about the other 9 fights on this damn card.
Let's go for it. Are you sure you don't want to talk no more about Chihiro Suzuki? I mean, I think the kid's a superstar, bro. It's just It was so impressive. I just can't wait for that next matchup, Patricio. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about Chihiro in this case because now that we have talked about Chihiro Suzuki for about now about 5 or 6 times as long as the damn fight took place, we can go ahead and now talk about Masanori Kanehara's future plans. And to be honest, I just gotta ask, at 42 years old coming up, I mean, what do you think is next for Masanori Kanehara, real quick? Because I want to get to the next card. I mean, I want to get to the next fight.
I don't. It's like you said, he's in the twilight of his career. So, and this was his pretty much, I think, his last shot at the title. Maybe have him be like a gatekeeper or something. Maybe force Kleber to have to fight him again to avenge that loss for Kleber. Because remember, Kanehara beat Kleber fair and square, legitimately. That's how Kanehara got the title shot. So maybe something like that, or I don't know. It depends on how he feels. If he can continue fighting, if he gets cleared by commissions, all that stuff. I'm not one to tell another fighter when to retire, but it's like I just don't. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what his next fights are, and how. What do you think is going to happen with him?
I mean, I don't know, but honest, the way that he has been. I mean, because what am I trying to say? Let me go ahead and look at the plus side about this. The dude has came back to MMA with a vengeance, dating all the way back to his return to the sport back in 2016. I mean, dude's pretty much beaten everybody that's been put in front of him in combat sports since then, except of course for Victor Henry, who's now in the UFC, and obviously Chihiro Suzuki. But still, though, even I wouldn't know what the hell you do with him. I just think that when it comes down to future plans, I think you have him be a showcase. I mean, I wouldn't say have him be a showcase fighter for the rest of his career. I just hope that you would basically end his career out on good terms. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like I was saying, maybe do the rematch with Kleber. Try to give Kleber a chance to avenge that, especially if they re-sign Kleber. And then do, like you were saying, showcase fights with up and comers. That would be like a gatekeeper type of a fighter. Maybe who knows? But what if he beats Kleber again? Maybe that gets him on a path to a rematch. I mean, who knows?
Don't have him be the jobber to the star, so to speak.
Right? Yeah. And look at Drew's suggestion. If Juan beats Kleber, he wouldn't mind seeing Kanehara versus Juan. Hey, I'm 100% agreement. I like that. I don't think that, because remember, my thing with Juan Archuleta is he's an expensive fighter, right? So I don't want his fights wasted on no name up and comers and stuff like that. He's got to be in big name fights, and a fight against a former title challenger like Kanehara, a gritty veteran, UFC experience, all that. That'd be one I could get behind, especially if he beats Kleber. So we'll see how that goes. I wouldn't be opposed to that one either.
Of course. And
Drew saying he's not worthy of a rematch with Kleber? What if Kleber beats Arch, though? If Kleber beats Arch, I think he would earn that rematch. I
mean, he's saying usually RIZIN tends to give tune-up fights, so he'll probably KO Hagiwara.
No more grappling, experienced grapplers for Hagiwara. No, give him those guys that are striking, like they did with Bay Noah. They gave Bay Noah a guy that was, that didn't want to grapple on the strike, and Bay Noah shit the bed on that one. So we'll get to that later, though. Yeah, but yeah,
moving right along, because we talked about the main event ad nauseum way longer than the fight actually took place.
Well, that's fine, because that was the main attraction. That was the main attraction of this event of 47.
Of course, but let's go ahead and talk about how a former Olympic silver medalist basically neutralized the Fighting Bull. That meaning Shinobu Ota stomping out Kyohei. No, not. Damn it! See, you got me all fucked up when it comes down to reading all this shit. But still, though, the point of the matter is Shinobu Ota, the 2016 Olympic silver medal Greco-Roman wrestler, stomped out Juntaro Ushiku's Achilles. I mean, basically, it's just showing now. These fights in RIZIN for Ota, all 8 of them in total. Well, actually, all 9 of them in total. And what's up, Combat Sports Today? We hope you're doing well, by the way.
Yes, well, shout out to Combat Sports Today. What's up, fellas? Hey, thanks. Shout out to Izzy Doe as well for on the review show. Man, that was or on the preview show. Excuse me. That was one of the most fun shows that we've done, and just can't wait to have him back. And shout out to you guys for giving RIZIN coverage. Everybody, go follow Combat Sports Today on Twitter and all the places where they post and read their articles and stuff. Fantastic organization, and just shout out to you guys. And thanks for tuning in. Yeah, look at that. Look, we even got a banner for you. Way to go, Jay Krish. Way to go.
Exactly. But still, though, going back on the result that I was talking about before we get right into the action, Shinobu Ota, I mean, what can you say about the 9 fights that have taken place for RIZIN with him in it so far? As Combat Sports Today is just in awe of our amazingness.
Thanks, brother. Hey, appreciate y'all. Appreciate it. That's very nice. Thank you for the kind words. It's awesome. We really appreciate y'all.
But still, though, going back to Shinobu Ota, he defeated former RIZIN featherweight champion, the Fighting Bull Juntaro Ushiku, via unanimous decision. But after those Achilles stomps, and I know somebody in my family, actually 2 people in my family, who have gone through the pain of having a torn Achilles tendon. It's not fun, especially considering the fact when you're having 135, maybe 155 pounds of pressure getting on your leg. It's not fun at all. And there goes Andrew being a hater saying, "What more can I say? Ota bores me."
Yeah, the hater's gonna hate. That was a great performance by Ota. And hey, like you were saying, Jay Krish, those Achilles stomps. You know what saved Ushiku's Achilles was, you see the stomps kind of hit the rope a little bit as well. If that rope wasn't there, I think it would have blown out its Achilles.
Yes, definitely. It's not fun having 155 pounds of pressure applied to your leg. It is not fun. But still, though, Ota has done a lot in these 9 fights that he's had in the RIZIN Fighting Federation so far. And yeah, despite the opinions of one, hint, 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 I just gotta ask, do you think it's time to give Shinobu Ota maybe at least a crack at the not a crack at the featherweight title, a crack at the bantamweight title?
Yes, this was arguably his biggest win to date, and very impressive win against a former champion. So if you're not going to give him a title shot next, you got to give him a number 1 contender shot next, right? So it was very impressive. And not only did he do the Achilles stomps, I think he had a soccer kick in there as well, right? During the fight. That was one of the highlights of the night. So just very impressive from Ota. I mean, and Ushiku is a grappler, heavy fighter as well. He knows his grappling, and he was not even close on the same level as Ota. And we already knew that because Ota has Olympic level wrestling. So it was just an all around impressive performance from Ota against the toughest competition he's faced to date, and he passed with flying colors. So I was very impressed, and we were all impressed with the new Achilles stomp technique. Even the RIZIN English Twitter was tweeting about it. And like I was saying, if it wasn't for that bottom rope, man, that Ushiku's Achilles would have been destroyed. And it did affect him. You saw he moved. He changed his stance, right? Because it was affecting him. So those obviously hurt. It wasn't like it's just impressive performance by Ota. So yeah, I'm a total 100% agreement with you, Jay Krish. If not a title shot next, number 1 contender fight.
Yeah, but look at what Andrew's saying. Ushiku can't spell grappling, Jay.
Oh, come on, Andrew, get out here with that hater nonsense. He was, he's a great grappler.
Yeah,
man.
But he's saying Ota isn't so much good as Ushiku. He's just not good.
Yeah, okay. Former champion, not good. I don't think so. Drew's just trying to hate. Stop putting his comments up there. He's going to be hater. Bring back Combat Sports Today comments.
Really, but still, though, all in all, looking at Ushiku, despite the opinions of some, hint, 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 hint. I mean, what's next for the Fighting Bull?
That's a good question. Kind of like the same thing I was thinking with Kanehara, like maybe like a gatekeeper style, because he is a former champion, right? So, and that's good for a gatekeeper for up and coming guys. Who's a good up and comer at bantamweight? I can't think of it right now because we're live. But anyways, like some up and comer that's on our way to a title shot, just like they did with Ota right now. To me, this was like a gatekeeper fight for Ota. That's why you're suggesting that he gets a title shot next, and I'm suggesting not a title shot, at least a number one contender fight next. So I think that would be what's good for him next is to, because obviously they're not going to drop him because he's a former champion, right? So I think definitely like a gatekeeper status, or like I wouldn't go into the realm of Kanehara since Ushiku's not that old, right? How old does it say he is here?
Says 29 years of age.
Yeah, dude, he's not even 30 years old yet. No showcase fights for him, like for no, definitely at least gatekeeper status. He's a former champion, and at least gatekeeper status. Test him against up and comers that are on their way to a title shot, and see if he can himself get back into title contention.
Andrew's basically saying, LOL. He only became champion because Saito got a slight cut on his face. That being
yeah, okay. Haters gonna hate, whatever. Excuses. He is still champion, so he's a former champ. So I think gatekeeper status would be good. Test him against up and comers to see if the up and comers are worthy, and to see if Ushiku can get back in title contention himself.
Yeah, of course. Now, in the essence of time, because this is going to be at least a 2-hour show, but we got plenty of time in the world to talk about these fights separately. It's just that I want to talk about these fights a la carte, in bulk, so to speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
RIZIN, and by extension, the Japanese love their storylines. They love putting things over in story arcs, which is why they made television series and anime and manga that feature some damn good story arcs. It's just the fact that when it comes down to this Japan versus South Korea 3-fight series, I know that they have, partnerships with Road FC and Black Combat, but when it comes down to this, and I will ask this after I read the results once again. First of all, Social Kim knocked out Taichi Nakajima. That was the only Japanese blemish on the Japan versus South Korea card. The other two were just dominant wins. Kazuma Kuromoto versus Ji Yon Yang. Kuromoto winning via decision. And Makoto Shinryu Takahashi beating RIZIN debutant Jung-Hyun Lee via arm triangle choke submission. But after this now been said and done, with this whole Japan versus South Korea series, do you think this might lead to RIZIN having more, I don't know, Japan versus the world type of mini matchups down the line?
Oh, I would hope so. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to be 5 versus 5 instead of just 3 versus 3. Maybe it could also lead to a Epic RIZIN Korea show in South Korea, maybe, and do a collaboration with Road FC and stuff. And also, Jay Krish, the first fight in this was a split decision. It wasn't a dominant decision. And so I'm sure we'll get to that as well. But which fight of these do you want to talk about? I absolutely love the storyline and love the versus series. I think they should totally continue doing that. It was a lot of fun.
We can talk, going by weight class, we can talk about the flyweights first. We can talk about Toto Shinryu Takahashi just mollywopped Jung-Hyun Lee. And Andrew is saying, a Korea show makes better sense than an Uzbekistan show.
Well, not necessarily. We got a lot of fantastic fighters from that region where Uzbekistan is. I mean, the Azerbaijan show was a success. So, and that's, I know that's a little bit farther away from Uzbekistan, but still, that region right there, they got dude, isn't that where Nazimov's from earlier?
Yes.
On the card? Yeah, see, we got excellent Uzbekistan fighters as well. So, I mean, a show in both. How about this? Both countries for an international show, Korea and Uzbekistan. How about that? So, getting back to what you were saying, Jay Krish, the Shinryu versus Lee fight, the 125 pounders. I really enjoyed that one because it was two young guns, right? They're both. They weren't even. Both of them were not 25 years old. They were so young and just action. The fight was high paced, action packed. Just it was a lot of fun, bro. It was a lot of fun. And Shinryu he got back in the win column, but it was an impressive performance by Lee as well because I mean, Shinryu's a tough out. Like he only loses a top competition, so it was just I just loved it. Like I said, it was a show between two young guns, and it was action packed.
By the way, hate to interrupt, even though it's kind of my thing in reference to Ilkham Nazimov. He lives in Thailand now, and if I'm gonna go ahead and say in extension of Andrew, I think he trains out of Tiger Muay Thai as well.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. He's there training, but it says he's from Uzbekistan. He reps the Uzbekistan flag. Mm-hmm. So
we'll talk about that once we get to that fight.
Right. Yeah.
Fight.
Well, I'm sorry. What it cut out a little bit? What'd you say?
Yeah, we'll talk about that once we cross that bridge to talk about it. But talk about the Makoto Shinryu versus Junghyun Lee fight again.
Yeah. I loved it. Like I said, it was between two young guns. They weren't even 25 years old. It was high paced, action packed. Two young gun fighters just going at it right from the opening bell. It was fantastic, and in a sensational finish. The scrambles were excellent. I would highly recommend y'all go check that fight out because it was great. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait to see both of them again. Even though Lee lost, I mean he brought a lot. He brought the action too. I mean it takes two to tango in every fight, right? So it was just really fun. I loved it.
Yeah, and Junghyun Lee, according to Andrew said on the confession video, the RIZIN confessions video, which I need to watch more of, by the way, was hilarious.
Yeah, he's talking about the confession series of shows. That's their little behind the scenes shows that show, and he's right. Those are great, and they give great insight to the fighters and the behind the scenes footage and stuff like that, and pre-fight footage lead up to the event. They're fun. Great series, great content. Oh, Jay Chris, you still there? I can see you, but I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Jay Chris there he is. Okay, Jay Chris, we can see you. I can see you. Yes, I can see you. I cannot hear you. You're muted. I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Okay, he's gonna return here. He's gonna back out. He's coming back into the chat, so I'm just gonna keep it going, the show going here, talking about this 3 versus 3 series between Japan and Korea. It was really fun. I guess we'll go to the next one, which was Ji-Young Yang versus Kuramoto, and this one I really liked this one. It had Kuramoto threw some grounded knees. He had a great sequence in there where he threw a bunch of grounded knees combo, and it was a lot of fun. And this one was a split decision. Hey, Jay Chris is back. There he is.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Now we can hear you. Excellent. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just kept the show flowing, and we're on the Kuramoto versus Ji-Young Yang fight.
You were talking about the Makoto Shinryu Takahashi fight and how, I mean, let's just face it here. When it comes down to Shinryu, I mean, I just gotta ask, even though Kyoji is the flyweight champion, he's going to be fighting in RIZIN for, a short time unless the big bald father calls him back. I mean, let's just say, do you think that Shinryu needs to fight more international competition?
Oh, of course. You know me. I love the international fighters. Absolutely. Throw them against an international fighter. 100%. Yes, I'm totally on board with that.
I see. And even though this is a type of feature that Andrew likes to do on his show, the We Are RIZIN podcast, I'll go ahead and throw a bone here. What do you do with the phenom Jeong Kyun Lee? Do you think that he is RIZIN worthy?
Yes. Yes, like I said, it takes two to tango. That was a great action-packed, high-paced fight. Definitely bring him back and see what he can do. I mean, Shinryu is a very tough fighter. Like we were saying, he's only lost to top competition. Great, and just he's up and coming. Just because he lost to Kyoji doesn't mean he sucks, right? That was a fantastic win for Kyoji. It just means that Shinryu is just not at that level yet, and he's still on his rise, right? So he's a fantastic fighter as well. So I mean, you know what I want to say to do with these flyweights, Jay Craig?
It starts with it rhymes with Slam Wee.
Yes, that is a Grand Prix, baby. Take these fighters, take both these young guns, throw them in a flyweight Grand Prix. Get that rolling. Even this year.
I should have known.
That's always the answer, you know.
Now, when it comes down to it, Bellator doesn't have a flyweight division anymore because they joined forces with the PFL. And outside the UFC and outside of, and I'm going to go ahead and say it here, that down one championship, there's not that many options for fighters outside of RIZIN around the world. So, hey, especially considering the fact that now we're 4 years after the pandemic, now would be the best time to put on a Grand Prix, wouldn't you say?
100%, yes. And with international fighters as well. That's what you're getting to about the pandemic being over with. They can bring international fighters as well. So, absolutely 100% correct, Jay Krish. Now is the time for the flyweight Grand Prix. They have built the division up plenty. Let's get it happening. Let's get it rolling.
Yeah, of course. Moving up the card, but going in alphabetical order of who actually won the fight, Kazuma Kuromoto defeated Ji Yong Yang via split decision. Now, you probably stayed up and watched this fight. What were your overall opinions on this?
I was very impressed with Kuromoto because Ji Yong Yang, he was way bigger than him, right? I mean, height-wise, build-wise, everything, reach, everything. And Kuromoto was able to neutralize that with grappling, completely out-grapple Ji Yong Yang, scored some takedowns and level changes. But Ji Yong Yang, he was able to get some damage on Kuromoto. That's why it was a split decision. But I think it was Kuromoto that had this fantastic sequence with grounded knees. He landed about 4 or 5 grounded knees in a row on a combo. It was one of the highlights of the night for me. And then Ji Yong Yang, the reason it was a split decision was because Ji Yong Yang had grabbed the ropes during one of his. He was attacking with stomps, and he had grabbed the ropes a little bit. And I thought it was way too quick to give a yellow card just for that. And especially when earlier they didn't give a yellow card to Bay Noah for stalling, right? And for lack of action. But yet they're going to give a quick yellow card to Ji Yong Yang for just, casually grabbing the ropes during a stomp. And a stomp that didn't even land flush. It's like, I don't know, man. That was kind of a questionable decision. And that is what gave it the split decision to Kuromoto. Because if you look at the scorecard afterwards, Kuromoto, they scored it for him for like grappling, aggression, all that good stuff. And they took a percentage of the scoring away from Ji Yong Yang because of that yellow card. And that's why it was a split in favor of Kuromoto, even though he had sustained the more damage with a massive cut and swelling above one of his eyes. Because it was also a bloody fight as well, which is awesome. You know me, I love seeing the blood and them decorating the mat with blood. It's awesome. So it was a good fight. Impressive by Kuromoto that he legitimately got it done, Jay Krish. With this, he out-grappled the bigger fighter, scored level changes and takedowns, and with that yellow card against Ji Yong Yang and the grounded knees sequence that he did, I was 100% fine with that split decision. Now, I saw a lot of people online were upset. They thought it should have been a decision for Ji Yong Yang. But with that yellow card, which was questionable, I will say that it was questionable to give him a yellow card for just a little quick grab of the ropes while I was doing a stomp technique, especially when you give a yellow to Bay Noah earlier. So that was controversial. But because of that, that is what allowed the split to go to Kuramoto for sure. So, but I thought it was a great fight, a great kickoff to the series. That was the first fight in the Japan versus Korea 3-3 series, and it was fun. I loved it.
Now, when it comes down to that particular fight, I mean, I don't know what you would do with either one of these fighters next, but would the easy option be to run it back?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, for sure you bring both of them back, but I don't know if you would just do an immediate replay, or immediate rematch. I mean, I don't know, maybe because it was a good fight, so I could see that. But it's like that's one of the best divisions, right? That's a bantamweight, correct or no?
It was.
What division?
And the next fight we're going to talk about was at bantamweight too. As a matter of fact, let me rephrase that. The 2 of the 3 fights in this Japan versus Korea series were at bantamweight. And Andrew is saying, well, Yang shouldn't have won based on the yellow card penalty, but Kuramoto didn't look good in weighing either.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he looked fantastic. He's out-grappled him and scored level changes and the grounded knee sequence. I mean, what more do you want? Dude, it was against a massively bigger fighter. It looked like Ji Young Yang was a featherweight compared to Kuramoto.
He probably wanted more superior grappling action.
No, but it was a good fight, and I would not be opposed to them running it back. But at the same time, I don't know. I would think that maybe you do Kuramoto versus Soo Kim next. Book the winners against each other. So I don't know. I just you see, Drew saying that Kuramoto's face was mincemeat. He did have damage on it, and that's why a lot of people thought that Ji Young Yang should have won, even with the controversial yellow card. But you can't. The yellow card is supposed to deduct points from the scoring system, and that is why he lost. And it was a split decision. It's not like it was a unanimous decision. It was split. So it just, I don't get why everyone's yelling about that one. I mean, if it was a unanimous, I could see them being more upset about it, but it was split. So that's showing that some of the judges agreed with them. So what does it say here?
Well, Andrew is saying, RIZIN judges are supposed to give damage and attempts to finish the presence and scoring.
Yes, and they did. That's why it was a split decision again. But the yellow card deducts, I think it's like 20% of the scoring, right? And Kuramoto was out grappling him, was scoring takedowns, did have that sensational grounded knee sequence that was like a 4 or 5 grounded knees combo in a row. So I mean, he was also scoring him as well. So that's why it was a split decision, you guys. That's what it was. If it was a unanimous decision, then I'd understand. But it was a split. So unless if that's what you're gonna say for a reason to run it back, wait, what did you say? Run it back in the cage? All right, hey, you know me. I love the landmark cage stuff. So
well, Andrew was also saying that this was Yang's first time in a ring. Maybe that's why he was grabbing the ropes, huh?
That's funny coming from Drew because he's a ring guy. He's a ring supremacist. He loves the ring more than the cage. So that's funny to hear. I like it actually.
I'm more to the ring as well, especially for RIZIN shows.
I don't know. I like them both. I like them both because they're. I mean, this show showed that the ring still does have its faults as well. Like you're saying, the ring rope grabbing, them getting tangled up in the ropes. Them doing of course, my favorite thing to bust balls about or break balls about is the ring restarts where they come, they have to stop the action, start them back in the middle of the ring because they're coming out of the ring and stuff. So, and also the corner stalling. The corner stalling in a ring is the same thing as wall and stall in the cage. So it's like both have their faults and their pros and their cons basically. But I like them both. I love them both. I don't mind them both. I mean. For the ring, it's like it is cool. It's very cool. So, but I like that suggestion. If you're gonna run it back, go ahead, do it next time in the cage, and see that. And then that because that would favor Kuramoto, right? Because he could do the wall stall up against the cage instead of the ring corner stalling to get a better grappling on him to get those takedowns. So we'll see how it goes. But you know me, I don't like doing immediate rematches or matching up losers against winners. I think maybe because that was a huge win for Kuramoto. I'm thinking maybe doing him versus Sul Chul Kim next or something. Winners versus winners of this Japan versus Korea series.
But speaking of Social Kim, it basically pops right up to what I'm going to talk about next. The dominant Social Kim knockout over Taichi Nakajima. I mean, let's just face it. When you saw that knockout happen in the first 6 seconds of the second round, what came to mind?
Awesomeness, epicness. I loved it. Did you see that? He blitzed them, knocked him down, and went to this land of nasty combo on him to get the ref to pull him off him. It was awesome. I loved it. That's the first thing that came to my mind was this is awesome. That was badass.
Now you're saying when it comes down to matching winners and winners, Kuramoto versus Social Kim. I mean, do you think that could also be matching losers and losers, matching Taichi versus Ji Yong Yang?
Yeah, I like that. It would continue this Japan versus Korea series, this same series right here, right? And it would continue. I love that idea. I love it. Yeah, and they could do more matchups with different fighters as well from Road and Japan. So I like it.
But Black Combat and Japan as well.
Right. Yeah. Korea versus Japan. Yeah. I would love them to continue that series. I had a lot of fun. It was great. Like I said, I wanted it to be 5 versus 5. I was having so much fun.
So overall, your thoughts on this mini series is that they should do more of these, right?
Yes, and not just against Korea, but you can do other countries, and it does not have to be only Japan versus these other countries. I love the versus series. I love the storylines. I love it all. It's insane. You can even turn it into a Grand Prix and do country versus country in Grand Prix, or Japan versus the world in a Grand Prix. So I love it, and I hope they do more of it because it was a lot of fun.
Then again, wouldn't that take entirely too long to do, especially considering the amount of fighters that are going to be, that would be participating? I mean, you don't want to turn it into a damn team combat league situation where a person died just weeks after fighting in a fight just to come back and take a loss, then die 3 weeks later.
No, you're talking about it takes a long time for the Grand Prix to finish? Well, then you know what the solution that is? One night Grand Prix, baby, King K1 style. And they do one night Grand Prix, at least for the finals in the Epic Ride. That's why they're so awesome. They do the semifinals and finals same night on New Year's Eve, so they could do it the first round of 8 in the fall, and then the final be on New Year's Eve. And and it don't have to just be the flyweight Grand Prix. It could be a Japan versus Korea Grand Prix. They laid the groundwork right here with this 3 versus 3 series. So there's a lot of options, and I love every single one of them. It's awesome.
I see. And now we're gonna go on to the rest of the card. And Fallen Star, I see you asked about the BKFC board of directors and Conor McGregor. We will get to that as soon as we talk about the BKFC fight in question. Well,
was that the comment that popped up on the screen real quick? I didn't get to read that one, but that was what that was about.
Yeah, basically he's asking, do you think Conor will interact with RIZIN now that he's on the board of directors for BKFC? But again, we'll talk about that when we talk about Shinotsuka versus Martinez.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're definitely gonna get into the BKFC collaboration for y'all. Don't even trip. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most talking about with y'all.
Yeah, but as for now, we're going to talk about the lightweight contest, which is really kind of ironic because you would think that Bay Noah, who resides in Tokyo but is originally from SoCal, where you're residing in, Torrance, California in particular, you would think that Bay Noah would have a conquering hero type of return. It was anything but when he faced off against Yusaku Inoue and won via unanimous decision because he was too grapple heavy. Like, how can you go to American Kickboxing Academy in San Jose, California, which is NorCal, How can you go up there and basically be more of a grappler than a kickboxer?
There wasn't even that much grappling. It was like there wasn't hardly any action at all. That's what we're saying in the intro is that the Japanese crowd actually booed this fight.
Mm.
And that never happens, like ever. So that was, and the referee didn't even give him a yellow card. So it's like, and then they give a yellow card to Ji Young Yang for a quick little rope grab on a stomp attempt. I mean, dude, that was messed up, and they should have got a yellow card. The ref should have been yelling at him during the whole event for action. And when they did do the grappling exchanges, the ref should have been quicker to split them up. And because this was tailor made for Bay Noah to make a comeback, right? Because he was coming off of a brutal knockout loss because it was so funny, Jake. I call it the stink face KO because Bay Noah gets knocked out so bad he's lying face down on the ground with a stink face that just it looks like he smelled something terrible. It's just the funniest thing. Go check out that knockout. And I think that's what happened to him in this one. I think that's why he was a little bit more timid, was because he was worried about getting knocked out again.
And Andrew basically brings up a good point, and I think it was when Go Yamamoto, aka Shirobi, was basically in the RIZIN post-fight presser saying, I like that Bara has in the post-fight presser saying that if they ever do something like that again, they would be cut.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Bara was not happy. Sakaki Bara-san, the CEO of Epic RIZIN, he was not happy that and he rightfully so. Because like we're saying, that's like, I cannot remember another time hearing the Japanese crowd boo like that. So that's why Bara had to address that. I mean, and
correctly, they did the same thing for Yoshihiro Akiyama back in the Dream days, but it was just out of outright hate for the man.
Oh, yeah, but they've never booed a fight like this for being boring and lack of action, and I just can't believe the ref didn't respond. I would have liked Sakaki Bara-san to admonish the ref as well, and say, hey, the ref should have said action more, should have gave him a yellow card, all that. So it's like, but I was very happy to hear that Bara actually did say something about it and was like, hey, this is not acceptable on RIZIN. We're about that action here. We're not about this. We're not about staring contests. We're about action. So, and that's funny that he said he cut him. I don't think he cut them.
Well,
I mean,
it's not that he would cut them unless they signed a contract. He would basically tell them, hey, you're not invited to fight. Well, actually, he would get Shingo Kashiwagi. Gomenasai. My apologies. But still, when it comes down to that, he probably gets Shingo to tell them, hey, we can't have you bore the crowd. We're going to have to tell you to go somewhere else.
Well, not somewhere else. Like, put him on like lower on the card, on like a landmark card in the cage and on like the opening prelims or something, right? Just demote him like that. But he's still young. It says he's not even 30 years old yet. He's a bilingual, reps America.
Sort of bilingual. I mean, when he was training, you probably might have seen him train at American Kickboxing Academy. Was his English decent?
From what I was seeing, yes. But I have a good like some people might say his accent or whatever, but I thought it was fine.
I see.
Look, it says feed. Drew wants him to feed Bay Noah and Minoru. I don't think he'd take that fight, honestly. I think this fight showed that. Oh, it says he's not. What do you mean? He speaks English, doesn't he?
I mean,
or am I tripping? I thought I saw him speak English on this stuff.
Way, it's probably because It's probably because his family migrated migrated to Japan when he was a little younger. But just because you were born in the country that you were in and moved to another country doesn't mean you know the original language from your original country by heart.
Oh, he's learning English. So he does speak English or some English. So that's where the accent comes from. So he is bilingual, but I guess he's not like proficiently bilingual. Well, whatever. Who cares? But still, the point remains the same. Don't cut him. He's still a young fighter. And I know Drew doesn't like to say that he counts as an international fighter, but he technically does. So I mean, just
the fact that in your case, if he spends no more than 3 years in one country from the time he was born to the time he was walking and talking, that he would count as an international competitor.
He even reps America himself. He walks out to the American flag when Lenny Hart announces him from the United States of America. He wears the American flag shorts.
I mean, you can even say him coming out to James Brown's "Living in America."
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, clearly he counts himself as an international fighter. So it's like, come on. But again, the point remains the same. The guy he's still young, and this fight, I think it was like I was saying, I think it was because he was worried about being knocked out because he was coming off of a brutal knockout. So it's understandable that he would be timid, and not want to get knocked out again. But this was, I think it was more on the ref than them. The ref should have been calling for more action and should have given him a yellow card in the second round, and I think that would have brought more action out of him. But anyways, no, do not cut him. Just lower him on the card, put him on a landmark or whatever, and just bring him back because he's still young. He's still, a good fighter. And is he still kickboxing? Is he still kickboxing? Do you know?
Please.
He is. Okay. So he's also a dual sport guy. I mean, absolutely keep him 100%.
Okay. And now our Polish contingency on the board, and Becky, I thought you were going to be waiting till tomorrow to talk to Andrew.
Sorry, guys, I'm a bit too late, but I've just got back from some kind of trip because we are in Poland right now. We have a long weekend. We are in the middle of the long weekend. So everyone is doing barbecues and doing some chill out stuff. So yes,
oh nice.
I just had an occasion to just get in. So I can get this occasion. Yes.
And what's the holiday in Poland? Is it the Orthodox Easter holiday?
No. It's like the martial law anniversary, the first martial law. It's the first martial law in the Europe and the second after the United States.
Okay. Okay, so, cool.
So today was the 3rd of May. Right now we have 3rd of May. Yesterday was a Polish flag day, and the 1st of May was the day of the labor.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So it's a holiday in Japan as well, and a holiday in Poland. It's also Orthodox Easter as well, and like Greece and stuff like that. So this really is the golden week for internationally.
Yeah, something like this.
And either way, Daniel, I bet y'all probably got the pierogi and the kielbasa going.
Oh no, much like to the barbecue and some kind of pork meat. I don't know how to translate it, but it's very common in Poland for the barbecue. So yeah, this is like a big long weekend of the barbecues.
Yeah. Nice.
But as we were basically talking, Daniel, about the card, since you managed to join us at the right time, we were talking about the Beinoa versus Yusaku Inoue fight, and Andrew was just asking, would you rematch them in a way to make up for the bad fight? Because honestly, neither man should be rewarded.
In my opinion, they should just forget about this fight and not do the rematch. Maybe after some time when Beinoa and both Inoue will be after some fight streak, not necessarily win streak, but and then they can do some kind of rematch. But right now it's pointless because it was too boring, and there is no point that if they will do the rematch will be looking totally different.
I see. And again, Fallen Star, we see your questions. We will get to you as soon as we possibly can, but we're going to go ahead and keep it going now that we
Of
got
course.
through. And we're going to keep it going by talking about the featherweight fight between Viktor Kolesnik against Yoshiki Nakahara. And Kolesnik won via unanimous decision over Nakahara, earning a record 26-1, which, and I'm trying to see his record now in RIZIN. His record in RIZIN now stands at an undefeated 3-0, 1 knockout and 2 decision wins. Now, when you think about it, when it comes down to Kolesnik, I mean, do you think that he is destined for future greatness down the line if he continues to keep the streak of dominance going?
Yes. Do you want me to answer first or Daniel?
You can go ahead and answer.
Yes,
No,
I was
go
really
ahead.
impressed by
Go
this
ahead.
fight. This is one of my fight of the nights. As you guys know, I was from the preview show. I absolutely love this matchup, and it was a very impressive performance by Kolesnik. Very nice action-packed fight, and just I mean, you see the striking from Kolesnik. Really like nice volume striking from him. Just we know he's got grappling, and it just man, I just thought it was a great performance. Really looking forward to seeing him again, and just this was a very high level win for him as well. So I think he should be fast tracked to a title shot. Like this was to me, this was an unofficial title contender fight right here, because it was just a great fight, and I was very impressed with Kolesnik. So I can't wait to see the kid again. It was awesome. And yes, bring back. I know you're going to ask Jay Krish. Yes, bring back his opponent as well, because this was. I mean, it was a decision when he didn't get finished. So there's still fights for him as well in the Epic RIZIN.
Of course, you're going to bring back Nakahara any day. Better than being in that damn one championship purgatory.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they sideline fighters for years. Give him like one fight every 3 years. Ridiculous.
Now, Daniel Dizubeki, what are your thoughts about Kolesnik versus Nakahara?
It was surprisingly nice fight because I was afraid that probably Nakahara could be more able to turn on the permanent wrestling mode and then try to, just go to the ground and control his opponent, aka lay and pray. But from the other hand, Kolesnik is well-rounded, is too good to just control himself on the ground. But the really good point from this fight is about that both guys for the majority of time tried to test their boxing and kickboxing skills. So it was the best outcome of this fight, and that's why it was just good. It had a risk that it won't be entertaining, but of course I think that it delivered very much, but it wasn't very certain that before this fight that this matchup will actually deliver.
I see. And I mean, come to think of it, do you feel in the same way that Kolesnik would probably benefit more from a dominant run international before going elsewhere?
Oh, you said previously we've talked during the talking with Jay about the possible title shot, and I think that Kolesnik is closer and really close. Really close to the title shot. Yes, we are loving our boobers, our beavers. This is the message from Andrew. But yes, actually, we are. I'm convinced that one, maybe two fights, and Kolesnik is going for a title.
Nice.
Probably with Chihiro. I think so.
Nice.
I see. And now that we've basically gotten all that out the way, how quick has this review been? We've been talking about. No, wait a minute. Andrew is saying Suguru Viktor Kolesnik.
He wants Suguru knee versus everybody. for Drew, it's knee versus the world.
He wants the bouncers to win.
Well, hey, if you want to do that, Drew, I think knee would get knocked out in that one. So I mean, if you want your boy knocked out, because Kolesnik is a real deal fighter.
In this case, to play on words, Sugulu would get need.
Yeah, nice, good one, Jay Krish.
Right, of course.
But hey, it's time for the BKFC. It's code. Let's see what Code Mayday's comments and stuff were. Man, I can't wait to talk about this stuff.
Yes, of course. Now, as we all know, and you, Daniel, probably were speculating this with Andrew as well, but when both of our previews happened last week, we both were, I mean, really the five of us, myself, Jay Wolf, and Izzy, and then you, Daniel, and Andrew, were wondering who was RIZIN and BKFC gonna agree upon getting Protopsky, Rude Boy, Shinotsuka on such short notice. Little did we know, we didn't find this out probably until late Sunday afternoon, early Sunday evening here in the States, or in your case, late Sunday night, early Monday morning for you, Daniel, that it was going to be a little-known U.S. Army veteran by the name of Justin Martinez who was going to be fighting Tatsuki Shinotsuka. I had to basically wait until the beginning of the damn show in order to figure that out. But still, though, point of the matter is that Tatsuki, first of all, Justin Martinez felt like he basically wanted to just get this out of there right as the fight began. Right as the entrance began, because as soon as he came out, the Big X, the plugs, back on my BS, he was just basically trotting down to the ring. He didn't even waste any time basking in the ambience, basking in the glow of being in RIZIN, getting announced by Lenny Hart. He probably figured because his entrance song was under 2 minutes, he was just going to get in, get out, and get going. But then Tatsuki had this entourage. He had this beautiful entrance that felt part classic, part urban, part hip-hop-ish, with all the homies right beside him as his ring crew.
And he was making it rain too, remember?
About Shinotsuka, I can tell you this, that during his Rise or K1 days, his gym affiliation was actually his friends. I don't know if it was hip hop label or just rhyming squad, but it was one of his hip hop crew had a name of his gym. But he had his own, let's say team, his own trainer, sparring partners and stuff like this. It was like a Team Shinotsuka, but it had his friend's hip hop crew name.
Understood.
Nice.
Think of it. I would probably equate it in my sense of combat sports. I would probably equate it to like, a fighter under the promotional banner of one James Prince in professional boxing coming out to one of the artists from his Rap-A-Lot Records label. For example, I don't know if y'all remember this, y'all probably don't, but there was a recent instance before the pandemic where one of the Charlo twins came out to one of the artists that I've enjoyed listening to over the years, Zero the Crooked, and it was basically an annoying entrance, for some, but it basically told you how much, urban music, rap, and hip-hop are just intertwined with combat sports. But enough about all that. Let's go ahead and, to say that we even have enough time in the day to talk about this fight is just mind-boggling, But Shinotsuka just basically wrecked Justin Martinez. And Justin Martinez, prior to that, was known for losing via disqualification because he threw in a little too many blows after that one fight that he had, which ended up being overturned to a loss. But still, though, Shinotsuka knocked out Martinez in 93 seconds. Basically wrecking homeboy, making him think, why did I get the hell out of Wichita, Kansas for this? But still, though, and I am looking back at what the Fallen Star Code Made Day said. And let's see here. Do. Oh, yeah, this. Basically come up to me now that Shinotsuka's basically shined in RIZIN with the BKFC crossover, even though it was hours after Knucklemania, where the Conor McGregor announcement was made. Do you think that Conor will now interact with RIZIN now since he's a part of the BKFC board of directors? This is from Fallen Star Code Mayday.
Boy, I sure hope so. I would absolutely love to see that. I would love to hear the Epic RIZIN's name be spoken by Conor McGregor. I mean, that'd be just, dude. Imagine the press that would get. I mean, they would have to cover it because it's Conor McGregor, and just boy, I would love that. I hope that happens. I really hope that happens. That'd be just sensational. I mean, and the fight was sensational. It was like you were saying, J. Chris. The walkout was arguably the walkout of the night. And Rude Boy, I guess his new nickname is Black Rose. And
I think from what I heard in the VTR, his nickname is now the Problem Boy, BWOI, by the way.
Oh, how come his was that the name of his rap group or whatever, Black Rose?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Well, still then, so you said is the new nickname is the Problem Child or Problem Guy?
Problem Boy.
Oh, Problem Boy, that's it. Okay, so the Problem Boy. I mean, I love the BKFC debut. It went just as spectacular. The crowd loved it. Everybody online loved it. It was definitely one of the highlights of the night, from the walkout on to the fight itself. Deliver the action, deliver the blood, everything. I mean, it was great. It was great. I loved it. I want to see more of it. I want to see more collaboration with BKFC. I want to see BKFC fighters come over to Epic RIZIN and not only fight under bare knuckle rules, but also the superior rules of Epic RIZIN and their mixed martial arts. And just, I just loved everything about it. It was awesome. And to answer Code Made Day, yes, I sincerely hope that Conor McGregor is involved with the Epic RIZIN, or at least talks about it, the Epic RIZIN and the collaboration in the future, because it would just be sensational. This is freaking awesome.
But here's the thing, though. Andrew is basically opining on you with a twist, saying Jay is actually right on this. Conor's tweet get dog shit aggregators to publish his shit, like the MacLight, for instance. Unlike Floyd's, shenanigans actually get clicks.
Well, Floyd get clicks too, but no, the gist of his comment is correct. Yes, Conor McGregor, everything he does gets clicks and attention because he's Conor McGregor. He's arguably the biggest superstar in mixed martial arts right now. So it would be massive. It would be massive for both bare knuckle and for the Epic RIZIN. So I just hope what Code Made Day says happens, and Conor McGregor just is involved or speaks about the Epic RIZIN, and hopefully he calls it RIZIN. Not RIZIN, right?
A lot of instances as of late of guys like Sergio Pettis and even this Kowalczyk guy who will be fighting Mikio Ueda coming up at RIZIN 47. They are saying it like RIZIN, as in risen from the ashes, instead of RIZIN, like rising out the ground.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll talk about the Polish fighter and the RIZIN 47 fights after we get through these fights, especially while Daniel's here, because he's our correspondent from Poland, so he will give us some background on that Polish fighter that's going to be fighting Ueda, which could be, because they want Ueda to be part of the heavyweight title picture, right? So that big implications in that fight.
There is no heavyweight title picture. They haven't even given a heavyweight title fight out yet, let alone done anything with a potential heavyweight title. So, it's hard to believe. They've been around 10 years, and they basically treated the heavyweight division like a damn sideshow. But hey, we'll see. Anyway,
yeah, we'll get to that later. Let's get back to BKFC. I want to hear what Daniel's got to say about BKFC and this fight with the Problem Boy.
Yeah, what are your overall thoughts about this fight?
I think it was great, but as I said before in We Are RIZIN podcast, I'm a regular commentator of bare knuckle boxing, but only from the BKB promotion from Great Britain. But also, I had an occasion to make a commentary for both BYB and BKFC, and it's so damn entertaining product because of, for example, giving a permission for a dirty boxing, because in BKB in Britain you can do this. So the entertaining level of both products are totally different right now, and I think that BKFC rules only fight, the first one in RIZIN's history, delivered, and I think that in future they could do more more the experiments like this was. By the way, Shinotsuka is something like a historical person for RIZIN, because he took place in his RIZIN debut in the first historical RIZIN kickboxing rules bout with MMA gloves, and then he is writing history once again.
Nice.
Yeah,
Great tidbits.
That's reason to think about it, because open finger glove kickboxing, professional boxing beforehand. Now he's doing this. I mean, it kind of makes you think that he's gonna sop some of this stuff up like a sponge, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And Andrew is saying, next time Jay says RIZIN doesn't make favoritism fights, I'm gonna point him over to this fight.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're still able to count how many favoritism fights they have on one hand, unlike the PFL, who does political matchmaking with their season point system. Come on, get out of here with that shit, Drew.
And again, I say, fuck him. Because
well, did Kobe Day have any more? I thought he had more comments for BKFC.
Has more comments. He has more comments. We'll get to those momentarily. But again, I say fuck the PFL, because they basically kicked me off of their media calls for booing.
Yeah, that's weak sauce, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to see an angry black man destroy their media call and tell them the real truth about their promotion. So they basically kicked me off. But still, though, enough about me getting angry over petty shit. Let's just go ahead and continue going. Oh, and by the way, one more thing. Martinez said, and this is according to Shirobi and what was transcribed out of the, media presser after the fights. He basically said that he didn't get a training camp. He went in off late notice, and he would love to fight for RIZIN again. But to this performance, would he be deemed RIZIN worthy, or do you think that he would need to go back to bare knuckle?
Well, so he wants to fight in bare knuckle in RIZIN again, or he wants to fight in the RIZIN Superior rule set of mixed martial arts again?
I think from what he said, he probably wants to fight Superior rule set, because he hasn't made his professional MMA debut yet. But considering the amount of fighters that have made their debut in RIZIN, and I think I can count on one hand, how many fighters that made their debut in this promotion over the last 10 years and failed, not to have another fight again afterwards. I mean, would Martinez be the first to break the mold?
I would love to see that, because that would show that the BKFC collaboration is not only for bare knuckle fights. It's also for what I was hoping would happen with the BKFC collaboration, which would be they would also do the Superior Rule set mixed martial arts fights under the Epic RIZIN. So I would love to see that happen. So I'm all for that 100%. And he's a smaller fighter, so he would be what weight were they at? Were they 125? It was like 130 pounds, right? 59 kilos to 58 kilos.
58 kilos, 130 pounds. And Colt Mayday is saying BKFC title fight can happen in RIZIN because of John Dodson being the BKFC flyweight champ. It will probably be a New Year's Eve fight that might happen. And he also says Eddie Alvarez for RIZIN New Year's Eve one day. I'm calling it. Hey.
Yes. Yes, to both of them. Heck yes, to both of those. Man, that'd be awesome. John Dodson having a BKFC title fight in RIZIN. Love it. Absolutely love it. And that would probably be one where Conor McGregor would say something about it, or say the Epic RIZIN's name for a John Dodson title fight. So I would love to see that happen. And yes, absolutely, Eddie Alvarez is one of the fighters that I was talking about. I would love to see come over to do not only bare knuckle, but come back to the superior rule set of the Epic RIZIN in mixed martial arts. So under the real mixed martial arts rule set of Epic RIZIN. So I would just love both those to happen. Code May, or is that Code May Day or Falling Star? Whichever one it was, I would just love to have that both those happen.
But I think when it comes down to Martinez, he's only 30 years of age. The sky's the limit as long as you don't get concussed. And speaking of, here's Code May Day now.
Oh, that's nice. What is that? I can't even see that.
He's basically saying hi with a weird ass symbol. Hey,
Code May Day, how's it going? We answered your question earlier. So we're talking about the Conor McGregor involvement with BKFC. Would love to have him speak about the Epic RIZIN, and we're thinking that for sure, if the John Dodson fight happens, like Fallen Star was saying, if a title fight for BKFC happens in RIZIN, that would be a perfect time for Conor McGregor to say something about it and say the Epic RIZIN's name and like a tweet or on a video, or even be involved in the promo. I mean, that would be sensational. So hopefully all that happens.
Yeah, of course. And Daniel, do you want to say any more about this fight before we move on?
About Conor McGregor, I can say that if he is he's an owner right now, the new owner. So I can imagine him attending on the first line on the ring side during the New Year's Eve. Think about it, and could you imagine it? Even it would be a great boost of the promotion. Conor McGregor is is actually one of, I don't know, maybe couple of people that can just wake up the people like him. Yes, when they are seeing him on the random situations, or even less random, like potential having a seat on New Year's Eve for Friday. So yeah, this is this is like a great thing. If he will fight in BKFC, maybe someday, but I don't think that it will be that coincidence to have a Conor McGregor's fight in Japan. But maybe there's always a chance.
Yeah, of course. But still, though, I'm just glad that they were able to do it without that. I mean, it sucks that it didn't get much fanfare. It's just the fact that the way they executed it, even though the fact that the fight ended in 92, the way they executed this was so well done. And I think they probably would need to do more of these. I'm not going to say that there needs to be a BKFC show in Japan with a few RIZIN bouts in the squared circle just to, balance it all out. But still, though, it would be pretty cool if they did that. And Andrew is saying that you, Daniel, are correct. Have Conor McGregor sit ringside on the New Year's Eve show would be the best international publicity RIZIN could get. Not another damn Mayweather-Pacquiao fight.
He says Manny Mac. He's thinking Manny Pacquiao versus McGregor.
Oh, you know what? Either or, especially considering the fact that Conor McGregor's days in the UFC are numbered anyways. He's probably not going to fight anymore in that promotion after he faces Michael Chandler. So, who knows?
Yeah, and hey, how about like how they do the kickboxing bouts in RIZIN? They have like 2 or 3 on a card sometimes, right? What if that turns into having bare knuckle fights, BKFC fights on the card, 2 or 3 on a card every once in a while?
That would be cool. But then again, considering the fact that they bought Brian Minor in, either that would have to basically get Minor to live in Japan full time, or it would have him to do more of these virtual seminars with the Japanese Officials Commission?
No, they flew him in. They can fly him in again. It doesn't have to be every single card. Just
Uh,
once in a while when they do it.
then again, family to get back to, and I don't think his family would want to see him waste their weekends with him going back and forth through Japan and the States.
Why? Why? It wouldn't be like you were doing it every single weekend. It just once in a while when they have these events. So I think it'd be fine, Jay Krish. I wouldn't worry about that part. I think, there's also fighters that are prime candidates to do bare knuckle, like Yaman. Yaman loves doing the small gloves for like Muay Thai and stuff like that, right? I think he'd be a prime candidate for a bare knuckle bout.
Mm-hmm. And now Andrew is saying I think BKFC rules matches are special attractions. They won't in the English commentary. I wouldn't expect them to fly in BKFC for all the time for Japanese shows.
Why not? They just did for this one. Yeah. It was just one BKFC fight.
What Andrew is saying is, don't expect this to be an annual occurrence.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see.
Right. But still, though, considering the fact that now we're all punch drunk off the BKFC thing, let's go ahead and finish this fight card off strong by talking about the first two fights that opened up the card. And that would be first in order of, not only in order of alphabetical order, but in order of the fight that happened second and then first. Ilkham Nazimov knocked out Sora Yamamoto via ground and pound, 3 minutes, 39 seconds of round number 2. Now, when it comes down to that, Jay Wolf talked about Ilkham earlier on. Him being from Uzbekistan, fighting out Tiger Muay Thai. And Daniel, I think this question would probably get to you from the Fallen Star. Do you want RIZIN to sign more of the winners of Olympic combat sport, or more fighters like Nazimov, so to speak? And if they don't, we'll have to wait another 4 years until RIZIN can sign Olympic winners.
Yes. What does he mean by Olympic combat sport winners?
Basically, seeing the fact that the Olympics love to screw over fighters in Taekwondo, and obviously with wrestling going by the wayside, then boxing going by the wayside.
Wait, is Nazimov, was he involved in the Olympics at all? Or no, it's talking about Ota, right?
Yeah, Ota in this case. But you know what? The same can also be
Ota. Yes.
Like Nazimov too.
Okay, well, yes. Answer this question, absolutely bring the Olympic caliber fighters or the combat sport crossovers, more of them. I love them all. The wrestlers, the boxers, all of them. And they're supposed to be doing. Did you see they're going to be opening up to kickboxing and Muay Thai in the Olympics? Man, what a pipeline that's going to be for those two sports. Absolutely have some of those crossovers.
Combat sports enthusiasts are hoping so, because they hate the fact that breakdancing and cricket are in the Olympics, and that flag football is going to be in the Olympics in 2028.
Well, they should definitely not take away boxing or wrestling, because those have been around since the original Olympic Games in Greece, in ancient Greece. So to get rid of those would just be just a travesty. So hopefully they eventually keep those, but just adding kickboxing and Muay Thai, man, that's sensational, especially for those sports.
Okay. Basically, wrestling has been around since the ancient days of pancration. Western boxing has been around probably since the late 1890s, obviously 1891.
No, look it up. Boxing was part of the original Olympics too.
Yeah, but still though, Daniel, what say you? First of all, what are your thoughts about Nazimov winning? Second of all, do you think that BKFC should be more open to bringing internationally acclaimed combat athletes or Olympians into the fight?
Oh, about Nazimov, I think he has a great physical conditions because he has long hands, long legs, and he can score and control the opponents just by his range, by straights, by knees, by kicks, and and this time Nazimov fought with his opponent with a big efficiency and knowing the assignment, as J Wolf would say, because we could see a lot of ground knees, even some soccer kicks by Nazimov. About Sora Yamamoto, he is on a kind of big losing streak, but he only faced very tough opposition. He had his back after over a year, from what I remember, and I thought that he will improve so much after this kind of break, but nothing had changed, to be honest.
Nice.
Yeah, hey, Jay Chris, can I talk about the Nazimov fight too? We were talking about the Kome Days stuff with Olympics, but just to piggyback off what Daniel said, this was one of my favorite fights of the night because, like you said, Nazimov knew the assignment. He was throwing superior rules, like our favorite armbar defense with stomps to the face, right? He was doing that, and it was just a great fight from Nazimov, and dude, I just can't wait to see the kid again. And if they go to Uzbekistan for a RIZIN Uzbekistan international event, absolutely going to feature Nazimov on that card. So along with some others, and just man, I just can't wait to see. I just loved it. What a great performance from him, and just love seeing that he knew the assignment, like Daniel was saying, and just what a performance. And I mean, just man, it was just great. Just loved it. Can't wait to see the kid again.
Now, what Nazimov is basic. Now, what am I trying to say? Now, what Nazimov basically said, not only in the post-fight speech, but in the post-fight little press area, from what Shirobi Go Yamamoto basically put out, is saying that soccer kick works well when I'm not using my hands. But he also wants to fight for the RIZIN flyweight title, saying that he'll fight anybody. I mean, do you think? No, wait, not the RIZIN flyweight title, the featherweight title. He's 145 pounds. But do you think that there will come a time when Nazimov fights for that belt?
Yeah, he's on his way. I mean, he's still only got 2 fights in the promotion, so it's not going to be like his next fight or whatever. But he's definitely on his way. Put on exciting performances like that. And now he's experiencing both the ring and the cage. Remember, this was his ring debut. So when he passed that with flying colors, he was on the Landmark 7 that Daniel was at in person in Azerbaijan, and he put on impressive performance in the cage there. So he
beat up
well, go ahead.
Warriors featherweight champion Juarez Dea.
Wait, go ahead. Say it again.
Basically, at RIZIN Landmark 7 back on November 4th, he beat up Juarez Dea, the UAE Warriors featherweight champion.
Yeah. That was a great victory for him in his RIZIN debut in the cage. And this was his ring debut. This is his first fight in a ring. And he passed it with flying colors, I thought, and just put on a sensational performance, got a fantastic finish. So it was fantastic. I can't wait to see the kid again. And yes, the answer to your question, Jay Chris, is yes. Get him on a track to the title. This is one of RIZIN's premier divisions. Chihiro Suzuki is a budding superstar. He's already a star, but now he's a budding superstar in the featherweight division. So, this is another division that's ripe for a Grand Prix. And there's a bunch of great fighters, just like Nazimov, on the up-and-coming fighters. So just can't wait to see what's next.
I see. Daniel, you want to talk more about this fight before we move on?
I would say that that's great that RIZIN is giving a chance for a fighter that appeared at the Landmark 7, the Azerbaijan show. Because I was afraid that for the majority of them, for the best of these guys, it will be just like one-offs. But we can see that Nazimov landed in Shingo's notebook, and then Shingo gave, and all RIZIN gave him a hand once again, and it looks like he will be one of the regulars at the RIZIN events in Japan.
Right. Now, considering the fact that we all talked about that fight, it's time to talk about the final fight on our list, which was the first fight shown to the masses at 3 a.m. Eastern or 7 or 8 a.m. Polish time, I think, right? But
Right.
still, though, point of the matter is, last fight on, we're talking about Ryo Takagi knocking out Taisei Nishitani 4 minutes, 54 seconds, round one. Takagi was really excited to see this. Well, he was really excited to have this fight, but he was even more excited to see Chihiro Suzuki winning the main event. But considering the fact that he won his fight, I mean, I can't really say, teammates should fight each other, but do you think that Takagi should get more of an opportunity fighting out of whatever fight camp Chihiro Suzuki fights out of, considering the fact that he's such a fan of his?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what a great knockout to just kick off the card. I mean, after that performance, yes. To answer your question, yes, 100%. I mean, this kid is he's not even 25 yet. Okay, there's a lot of young guns on this card, and this kid Takagi, he kicked it off in just spectacular fashion with a fantastic knockout, one of the knockouts of the night. So it just, man, yeah, I can't wait to see more of him, and just the fact that he's part of Chihiro's camp or sees Chihiro as a hero that he is, it just it makes it even better. So yeah, answer your question, 100% yes.
And start saying currently Suzuki is my current bad motherfucker Japanese MMA.
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, but he's also a title holder as well. So what's the deal. But about the first fight of the night, I could see before this fight some tools that Taisei Nishitani can use against Takagi. First and foremost, his ground game and that Darce choke grip that he's trying a lot of time in his fights, but also Takagi caused a lot of problems for Viktor Kolesnik in the stand-up position, especially by his counter punch. Here, the Takagi was a big favorite in this fight, and he finally delivered. Nishitani couldn't even bring him to the ground, so you could see how it was ended. Yes,
I see. And what am I trying to say? When it comes to his opponent Nishitani, he's now 0-2 in RIZIN. Both of his losses are via knockout, but he's now 6-5. But he's also 6-5 in deep. Considering the fact that he's now below 500 for his career, would a return to deep for him be more notable than fighting in RIZIN one more time?
Yeah, for sure. Or if you're not going to do that, if he's got to have one more fight in RIZIN, put him on like a landmark card. Because the theme of those is supposed to be for like prospects and veterans to get a back in the win column or whatever to match them up and stuff like that. So yeah, if not that, then send him back to deep, 100%.
I mean, come to think of it, he is 6-7. I mean, not only is he 6-7, but he's 27 years old. I think the prospect thing, the prospect label's probably gonna be off of him in a few years, wouldn't you think?
If it's not off him already right now. Right? I mean, Takagi might have just knocked it off him in this fight, right? So, yeah, 100% send him back to deep or put him on like the first couple of fights of a landmark card.
Yeah, but of course, Nishitani will always get another chance because he fights in Breaking Down and he's friends with Mikuru Asakura.
Well, hey, that's the way the game goes. You're friends with one of the biggest superstars in RIZIN, the Mikuru Asakura, part of Asakura Action Bros, and part of Breaking Down, which is one of the top view getters in Japan. So yeah, 100% then.
You know, if Nishitani wants to have another chance and another, he could be a good gatekeeper. He would also bring more public because of his, as you said before, his breaking down appearance. So he would be actually good fighter to just be a gatekeeper.
I see. But now, come to think of it, since we completely tapped ourselves out about talking about RIZIN 46, let's go ahead and now get our kicks in to talk a little bit about RIZIN 47.
Yes.
Got extra time. We can basically use the overrun to our advantage. And that in that case, we would be, because all 6 of these fights are just pretty interesting, especially what might be the co-main event and the main event. That would be in the case of the co-main event, Kleber Koike Ernst versus Juan Archuleta. The main event being Kyoji Horiguchi versus Sergio Pettis 2 inside the Superior Rule set. Then you got the other 4 fights: Karshiga Doubtbit versus Tetsuya Seiki, Mikio Ueda versus Przemysław Kowalczyk, who I know that you're a big fan of, Daniel. Spike Carlisle the Alpha Ginger versus the Red Horse, Spike Carlisle versus Kyung Pyo Kim, and Kazuki Tokudome, UFC veteran, versus Joe Patrick Usami. Come to think of it, out of all 6 of these fights, aside from the 3 fights that are, aside from the 2 that are probably going to be the main event and co-main event, which one are y'all most looking forward to?
Man, you say besides the co-main and main event? Because those are, that's clearly the main attractions. So if besides those 2, those are 2 that I'm really looking forward to. That's why I'm not going to watch it on the RIZIN.TV. I'm watching on RIZIN Live. I'm watching the Japanese stream that's not going to drop or anything. I cannot have any kind of interference for those. To me, they're super fights. That's Bellator crossovers, international fighters against the best of the Epic RIZIN. Man, I'm just so excited for that. So, but if it's besides those 2, it's a really tough pick for the ones. I really like Spike Carlisle. I want to see that fight. But now I want to talk to Daniel about this Polish fighter that's coming in. I'm really excited to see that one against Mikio Ueda, one of the heavyweight. To me, he's a heavyweight title contender in RIZIN. So I'm really looking forward to that one against the Polish fighter. And did you see that Sakaki Barasan, the CEO of Epic RIZIN, was talking about the Polish fighter and also saying it's a part of a collaboration with KSW, giving KSW promotion shouts out. So, there's just all kinds of excitement about that bout. So I'm really, really looking. Daniel, that's what I want to ask you. Because on his record, it doesn't say he's fought with KSW yet, right? Is he signed with KSW, like a KSW prospect that's going to be fighting in RIZIN and go back to KSW as well and then come back to RIZIN? Like how is that working? How is he part of KSW that Bara Goat or Sakaki Barasan was talking about?
First and foremost, from what I could read from his Instagram post, he is signed by KSW because he announced his fight in RIZIN on his Instagram, and then thanked the KSW and their matchmaker for giving him a chance to fight in RIZIN. So I think he got signed and got loaned immediately.
Oh, nice. It's nice. So he's a signed KSW fighter, and they're letting him fight in RIZIN. That means there's a collaboration going on with KSW. How fantastic is that? Remember, there was kind of like maybe a rift because of Kleber. I wonder what the situation of Kleber and KSW is now as well. But this is absolutely sensational news. This is a great sign. That means there's a collaboration going on. The relationship's been repaired. Kleber is not any kind of it doesn't have any kind of ill will or any kind of grief between the two promotions, between Sakaki Bara-san and I forget who the guy for KSW is, but there's no kind of bad blood between them at all. So, and now they're collaborating again, having fighters come over. This is just completely sensational news and welcome news. I can't wait to see it. So that is but to answer your question, Jay Krish, that one is now taken over as my most anticipated fight besides the main and co-main event. Is this KSW crossover with Epic Rising's arguably #1 heavyweight contender, Mikiya Ueda.
I mean, you come to think of it, Andrew is basically saying, because this guy isn't hunting it.
Get Andrew's hater comments off there. This is freaking awesome. Any way you cut it, Andrew, this is freaking awesome. This shows KSW and the Epic Rising collaboration. Daniel just confirmed it. Talking about on his the Polish fighter's Instagram. What's the Polish fighter's name again? I'm sorry. Gosh, they don't even list it on Tapology.
Przemysław Kowalczyk.
Kowalczyk, there you go. Yeah, on Kowalczyk's Instagram, he's talking about how he signed with KSW and they're letting him fight in RIZIN against a top contender in RIZIN. Just it doesn't get any better than that. That's clear-cut collaboration between the two promotions, and I absolutely love it. I hope it leads to more because KSW is a fantastic promotion in Poland, and just they got great fighters, especially in the heavier weight classes. They're excellent fighters, and on one of the most recent KSW shows, KSW Epic, they were doing superior rule set fights, and like they're calling it Pride Rules fights and No Hold Bars fights. Maybe if they do that again, they'll call it RIZIN Rules fights or something, right? I mean, I could see that happening as well. So just all kinds of great stuff. I mean, just for the future, I absolutely love it. It's just sensational. I can't wait. I mean, and then, so, I mean, I want to talk about the main and co-main for 47 as well. Just, you forgot to mention for the Kleber fight and Archuleta, they're being forced up a weight class because they were missing weight in the bantamweight division, which is where Archuleta is still ranked top 3 in Bellator, only man to beat Patchy Mix, by the way. They're being forced up to featherweight now. Mm-hmm. So it's just, man, just all kinds of great storylines. 47 really is. I know, Daniel, you were saying in the RIZIN Discord and on Twitter that 46 was the best RIZIN show to date. And I happen to agree with you, even though it was marred by the crappy RIZIN.TV stream with the buffering and the terrible of the cutting out during the main event, which I cannot forgive. That's why I'm going to RIZIN Live instead of RIZIN.TV for 47. But what's the Fallen Star say here? You're Chicago have a change of heart and decided to still be the captain of RIZIN for at least a couple of years. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness, because what Fallen Star is talking about there is that Sakaki Bara-san was talking about retirement on the 10-year anniversary of RIZIN. So if what he's saying is correct, that means Sakaki Bara has changed what he's saying, and he's not going to retire because next year would be the 10-year anniversary of RIZIN. So that means he's going to keep going for more. Thank you, Sakaki Bara. Please stay on for as long as possible. We love having you. You're the GOAT, and just we just don't want you to retire. And you're doing a fantastic job training Shingo to be the takeover, but just don't leave yet. You're doing too good of a job. This is just, I absolutely love it. And 47 is going to be sensational.
Okay. I can't imagine RIZIN without Sakaki Bara. So hey, that's really great news. If Sakaki Bara will be on duty for even more years, and that's the best thing for us.
Yeah, 100% agree, Daniel. Yeah. And just, man, and thank you for that information about Kowalczyk being, signed, confirming that he is, that's what it is, because his Instagram was in Polish, right? And obviously, us Americans, we can't understand or read Polish unless we're bilingual like you. So it's just great to hear. Thank you for doing that translation for us and confirming that, yes, it is a collaboration. I'm going to call it a super fight. That's how much I'm excited about it. It's a collaboration super fight, KSW and the Epic RIZIN. I absolutely love it.
And come to think of it, Andrew is also saying one more thing. When I see PDF and RIZIN, I don't know who PDF is in this case.
Phil DeFries.
Huh?
Phil DeFries, the KSW heavyweight champ.
Oh.
Feel the it'll truly be an epic collab.
We'll see what the future holds. I would not be opposed to seeing that as well. Maybe that could be for the inaugural, the winner of this matchup between Ueda and him for against Phil DeFries for the inaugural RIZIN Heavyweight Championship. Maybe. I mean, who knows? We'll see how it goes.
Come to think of it, Phil DeFries is being treated like a star over in KSW, especially considering the winning streak he's been on since leaving the UFC when joining KSW and becoming their heavyweight champion. Am I right, Daniel, or am I wrong?
You're right, because KSW can't find a tough test for Phil DeFries right now. So he's undisputed KSW champ for some couple good years. So I think it will be harder and harder to find a good contender for him, because there's very few heavyweights.
Maybe that's what they're doing, Daniel. Maybe that's what they're doing with this matchup with Ueda.
Without Duffy.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Daniel, because let's just face it, Phil DeFries is a monster, has been since leaving the UFC. But still, though, Andrew is bringing up a really, horrid point. Can you truly have a heavyweight division if Todd Duffy isn't in it? Yes, you can. The dude took a dive at Knucklemania last weekend, and I hope he doesn't take a dive in this Bloodsport Bushido tournament coming up in the month or so.
Yeah, forget Drew's hater comment. Let's go back to Phil DeFries, because maybe with Olenchek and Ueda on 47, what if that is set? What if they're trying to build a contender for Phil DeFries, right? This may be really a possibility that we could see in the future. I know Drew was just trying to hate and bring up Phil DeFries with collaborating with RIZIN, and then it'll be a real epic collaboration. But what if that actually happens? What if that actually could? What if that's what is happening right now? What if that's what they're building to in the heavyweight division? I think that's a real possibility, and I absolutely love it.
Yes, if you could. If you could find some good heavyweight challenger for Phil DeFries, it would be great if RIZIN will be involved in it. For example, if Sudario or Ueda or even Shibisai will have a good win streak, and then they can offer something to KSW to just send their fighter to the KSW challenging Phil DeFries, because KSW sucks and they can't get a proper challenge for Phil DeFries just by themselves.
Yes, that would be epic, and hopefully that's what's actually happening right here, Daniel. I could see that that's what is happening. I really think that's what is happening. Maybe we could see after this fight on 47, maybe if Ueda wins, what if he's the next contender for Phil DeFries and he gets sent over to the KSW to fight Phil DeFries for the KSW championship? I mean, that I can really see that happening. That would be, or like you said, even Sudario or Shibasai, that'd be epic. I would absolutely love that. So hopefully that really is happening.
Right, of course. But overall, going back into this, going into, what am I trying to say? Sorry.
Are you still talking about 47? You want to talk about how epic it is that Sergio Pettis, former Bellator champion, they're giving Kyoji the rematch of Sergio Pettis, and that proves further collaboration with.
What I'm trying to say is, and we can talk about RIZIN 47 a little bit more when we get. Because RIZIN's gonna take the rest of this month off, the entirety of May off to build up for this card in June. But I gotta ask, as we close this out, do you think that even with 6 fights on this card announced so far, even though Tapology won't recognize all 6, do you think that RIZIN 47 is going to be better than RIZIN 46?
On paper, I think it already is. On paper, I think it already is because of the two main events, the main and the co-main, and the collaboration with Bellator, and now the confirmed collaboration with KSW on the quote-unquote undercard. I mean, it's just this is what we've been asking for, Jay Krish. This is like real. I mean, international fighters are going to be all over this card, and are already all over this card. And it's just, I mean, to me on paper, this is the best card of the year, and I just hope the action delivers. Because 46, I agree with Daniel, but the streaming issues from RIZIN.TV aside, it was the best event of the year with finishes. And there was superior rule set action. It just didn't have a superior rule set finish, but it had plenty of superior rule set action like we like. The action was great finishes, everything, and the bare knuckle collaboration debut was sensational. I mean, just it was a great show, and of course, cherried by Chihiro Suzuki, the champion of the budding superstar, and as Kobe Day said, or Fallen Star said, the bad motherfucker of the Epic RIZIN. So just, man, it was just a great event at 46 and 47. What a way to follow that up. I 100% agree. 100% think that on paper it's better, and it's the best card of the year so far. And then they're gonna try to outdo themselves on 47 with Super RIZIN 3 in July, a month and a half later in July, right? So, I mean, this is just what a run Sakaki Bara-san, the CEO of RIZIN, is on right now. This year, 2024, it's been building like a crescendo with these fights, with these fight cards. I absolutely love it. I mean, I can't wait. 47, it's gonna be awesome.
I see.
Yes, we have just 6 fights. We have just 6 fights announced, and it's already on the paper. It's better. We know very well that names doesn't fight, but from the other hand, if the name power quality will work out on the athletic way, it will be much better, even much better event than 46. Simple.
Yeah, 100%. And it furthers the collaboration. 46 was collaboration with BKFC and Road FC and Black Combat, right? The Korean promotions, right?
There were 3 Road FC fighters, I believe.
Yeah. So it was like basically it was a showcase collaboration for BKFC with RIZIN and like the series Japan versus Korea with Road FC. And now 47 is going to be showcase collaboration with the mighty Bellator, with the main and co-main event with Sergio Pettis and Juan Archuleta, 2 former champions of Bellator, and then with the KSW crossover for the undercard, and who knows what else is going to be announced for the undercard. This is just absolutely sensational, you guys. I cannot wait. And then imagine what they're going to do for Super RIZIN 3 afterwards. Man, this is just, and what amazing news that Sakaki Bara-san is no longer going to retire next year. He's going to give it a go for a few more years. Because like Daniel, like you were saying, it just makes the Epic RIZIN even better. I mean, I know Shingo would do a fantastic job as a replacement, but just Bara's the GOAT. He's one of the undisputed GOATs of promoting mixed martial arts, going back to Almighty Pride FC days. So just to have him still be there is it's sensational. And this crescendo of this year that's happening right now with these events is absolutely sensational. It's freaking awesome. I absolutely love it. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch 47 with you guys. I wish it was next month already.
Yeah, of course. And by the way, considering the fact that this was also a part of a big week of fights, I mean, I gotta ask before this fight happens on Monday, this upcoming Monday, who you got in the Inoue versus Neri fight?
Oh, you know it's already the monster, baby. You know he's gonna get another nice win, especially during Golden Week. You know he's not gonna let them down on Golden Week in Japan. So I'm going with the monster Inoue all the way. It's gonna be, hopefully puts on a sensational performance for the fans. And that was, you guys were saying that was one of the reasons why the Epic RIZIN moved from, because remember they moved the original date. It was supposed to be this weekend, right? For 46, and they moved it to Sunday the 29th, or Monday the 29th for Golden Week, because they didn't want to compete with the Inoue fight, right? So let's hope it lives up to the hype, and the Inoue, the monster, delivers for the Japanese fans.
Okay. And Daniel, what about you? I mean, I know you don't really follow boxing all that much, But who you got in the Inoue versus Neri fight?
From all that hype that generates, we have to admit that is a great boxer, and he's doing revolutionary things sometimes. And I think that he will make his win streak longer after this fight. So, in other words, he will win. But how? No idea.
Understood. Well, other than that, let's go ahead and because of course we already talked ad nauseum about this. I think it's about time to close the book on this. And Jay, since you like to talk a lot, since you like to put yourself over, how about you put yourself over first and let the rest of us have the form?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for the banner right there. As you can see, there I am in Discord. I love the Discord channel that Drew and y'all set up. It's more fun in there, I think, than like on the public forums like Twitter and all there. But I'm also on Twitter as well, as you can see right there from the banner. That's correct. It is misspelled on purpose. That was what my screen name was way back when I first started commenting in like 2006, 2007 on the Yahoo message boards. So there was a million other J Wolf. So I was just like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to put 2 Ys, easier to search, all that stuff. Follow me on Twitter. I will follow you right back if you're a real person. And just, also on the RIZIN Discords, join that and look for me in there as well. And also on T to the Junk on Twitter, his YouTube channel, Random Acoustic Thoughts. I do previews and review shows for the Bellator and the PFL, like PFL Tour stuff. And also, he lets me talk about the Epic RIZIN as well on his shows. And we actually got one coming up here on, I think around Sunday night. We're going to do a joint review of the PFL opening season events and the Epic RIZIN. Of course, we're going to talk all about the Chihiro Patricio pound for pound Pitbull rematch that's going to be happening later this year sometime. So, and how this is like the perfect time for it. The stars have aligned for this super fight. So can't wait to talk about it. So check us out there. And also on this Focus Fight channel, I just want to give Focus Fights a shout out too. Love being on this show. Of course, the We Are RIZIN podcast. Daniel's going to be on that. I'm sure he'll give them a shout out. I get to be on there sometimes as well too. Fantastic. And that's who Drew was that was leaving a bunch of comments here. Shout out to all the commentators that were leaving us fantastic comments and questions. And of course, also shout out to the Combat Sports Today people as well. I know Izzy Doa wasn't a part of this review show, but he was part of the preview show. And it was really awesome. I can't wait to have him back again and talk to him again. And just I can't thank the Combat Sports people enough, Combat Sports Today news people enough, because they're actually giving coverage to the Epic RIZIN, and I just absolutely love that. And because this is my favorite. I love it. You guys love it. It's the best. So I just want to thank you guys as well for Jay Krish for the show, and Daniel for coming on and being another guest on this show. Love talking to you, brother. And of course, for you, the fantastic news about the KSW collaboration confirmed by you, because you're a Polish correspondent. Just awesome. So thanks again. All right, you guys. That's all. Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's
Thank you
enough.
very much.
And proud that you after the way you were going on rambling for so long. That's supposed to be my gig.
You owe me. I love this. I can talk about it for hours.
But we only got 2.5 to fill. Anyway, Daniel, you go ahead and you give your thoughts and you close us out.
Okay, you can follow me on the Twitter, aka X. You can see a text right down the screen on the Instagram as well. It's more like my lifestyle account, but also I can inform you via Insta stories about the next broadcast on of the mine. So it is what it is, and it is like this. So that 2 main accounts that I'm delivering the stuff, and what can I say? I can really look forward for the RIZIN 47 and then Super RIZIN 3. So it will be 2 great shows, and I can't wait. to be honest.
I see. So I guess that leaves me. Well, it's been fun talking about RIZIN 46. I mean, I can't believe we got to wait a whole month for another RIZIN show, but hopefully, I mean, as I just sent my interview inquiries to the English language folks of the RIZIN PR team, basically Hafid Darbaki and Shingo Kashiwagi. I hope they're listening because I did send them those inquiries. I hope that I can get the opportunity to talk to more of these people down the line because I miss having the opportunity to do so. I mean, especially considering the fact that now, since I think my presence is going to probably be limited on account of the PFL being dickish, and again blocking me. See this? Yeah, that's basically because they blocked me and barred me from their pressers because of me booing. But still, though, point of the matter is, I just love doing this. I love being a part of a fight community on at least on our side where there's not much bashing, there's not much hypocritical bullshit, there's not much hatred going on around our little neck of the fight world, where unfortunately I can't really say for the rest of the fight world who are just being assholes. In our community, you won't see figures like that here. You'll just see people who love what we do and who love just putting over this stuff. And I really hope that that can continue more as we talk about RIZIN. And I just hope to get the opportunity to interview more of these great people, even though, like I said, my presence will be a little bit diluted because of the PFL Bellator media ban, which I hope will get renewed. If not, like I said, fuck them. Point of the matter is, as you can see in the banner on your screen in red, check out my links in the description. Check out the links to where you can find this beautiful podcast, which on the audio side, I will probably have to change up programmers and providers a little bit within the next month or so because things are going to be changing with Spotify for podcasters turning into Riverside from Spotify. So I don't know. I think I'm going to have to change that up because I want my podcast on the audio side to be diluted to where I can't use music anymore. But still, though, it's been fun. You can check out the links in the description below. Please read it, by the way. You can check out the Linktree page for Focus Fights in the description. And again, you can check out Andrew's podcast, the We Are RIZIN podcast, which Daniel will be on in exactly 23 hours and change on the We Are RIZIN YouTube channel. And again, I hope I'll be back on there soon. And also, like was stated before, the RIZIN FF Fans Discord is a Discord where is a fan server where fans from all over the globe can converse about the superior rule set. For more, you can check out the link in the description on that as well. But looking in my mirror, it's about that time, and I think we know what time it is. So for J Wolf and Daniel D. Zubecki, again, and the Chillmeister J. Christian Gary saying, peace, my peoples, in one love world. Protect yourself at all times. Keep fighting because you never know who might hear your story. And in case it needs to be said anymore after what happened over the last few days, I think we can all agree that, like the great Lenny Hart always likes to say, after this epic week, we can agree that we
Pride never die. Pride is rising. Peace.
deuces. See y'all later. Oh, and in the memory of the late, great Fred Fowler, stay sportsy, bitches.